Hello and welcome to Gluten Free Aussie Vegan. I fell asleep last night and had the biggest craving for a big breakfast. Woke up this morning, still felt the same, so I thought I'd record that and show you guys how you can have a delicious, wholesome, big, full, vegan, gluten-free breakfast. Now, first off, I'm going to cook some hash browns, and I've cheated and I'm just using store-bought brand. Always check on the back to check the ingredients are safe for gluten-free and vegan, obviously. I'm making this breakfast for two, so I've just done enough for 2 hash browns for me and 2 for the other person. And then I'm also just going to do in some mushrooms and some fresh cherry-picked tomatoes that are out of my garden. So before I put them into the oven, I'm just going to add a drizzle of oil. Now, if you're going more oil-free, you can avoid adding as much oil as I just did. But if you like it, I think the mushrooms just soak it up beautifully and give it such a flavourful taste. So just add a little bit of oil over that, a little bit over the tomatoes, and then for the mushrooms, I just like to sprinkle a little bit of onion powder and a little bit of garlic powder. You can keep them plain or add a few of whatever your favourite ingredients are, but that's just what I like to have. Now I've set the oven to 230 degrees because that's what the hash browns need, and so we'll cook them up for about 20 minutes and we'll check and see how they're going, and then we'll move on to the next part of the breakfast. Now, I'm a bit more disorganized this morning. Usually I like to have all my ingredients all put out in pretty little trays, but I had thought about doing a big breakfast last night but wasn't sure, and this morning I was like, yep, let's do it. So it was a bit of an impromptu thing, so excuse the mess. So now our hash browns and mushrooms are cooking, we will start to get the tofu scramble organised. So first I like to put in a green shallot. So I'll just chop that up. So we have a full one. And we have a chopped one. So that's one green shallot chopped. And then I had half a pack of tofu left. I quite often like to use the silken tofu. This is in a bit of a shambles. But for this one, I'm using some medium classic tofu. And what I do is just slice it up into squares first of all. And then grab a fork and mash it up. Some people prefer firm tofu for tofu scramble, but for me personally, I think the silken and the medium tofu comes out in the closest similar texture to the original scrambled eggs. So yeah, that's up to you, that's your preference, but I've seen some people will squeeze the tofu into little bits and your hands always get freezing afterwards. At least mine do, so I found the easiest way for me is just to mash it up with the fork. And now you can see quite a scrambled egg mix to me. Okay, so for our tofu scramble paste that I like to make up, I add in a good teaspoon of nutritional yeast flakes. You can add more if you like. It just depends how much tofu you have. You just develop it to your taste. So any of the ingredients I'm about to mention, you can add more or less. Again, it's all on your personal preference. So yeah, I think I did end up adding a bit more than that of the nutritional flakes. And then we've got some turmeric. I'm almost out of that, so I'd say about 1/4 teaspoon, and I'm just going to add whatever's left in here. And a good tip to know is when you're using turmeric, our body assimilates it best when you add it with a little bit of black pepper. So we'll add in that black pepper now while I think of it. So I'll just do a spritz of that. And I don't always add salt, but I will add a smidge bit of Himalayan pink salt. But yeah, you can use white sea salt or no salt at all. The rest of the flavours that go in it are pretty good on their own merit. Plus, I just thought I'm also going to be adding in black salt later, so Now we're going to also add in some cumin, some ground cumin. I add in about half a teaspoon. Again, although sometimes I add in a bit more of that, depending on your flavour palette. So, and then I'm going to add in half a teaspoon of onion powder. Half a teaspoon of garlic powder. As you can see, I'm being very generous with the half teaspoon. And you can either add normal paprika or smoked paprika or none at all. But this one I've just decided to add a bit of smoked. I've just had it for the first time the other week and it's my new favourite thing. So I'll add that in too. Nice little mix. And then now we'll just add in some water to mix it all up. So usually I take 1 to 2 tablespoons of water. Give that a good mix. Until it's a nice thick sort of a paste and all the ingredients have sort of mixed in fairly well. Okay. So, now we've done the paste, we've chopped up our onions, we've mashed up our tofu, and we've got that ready, but that's actually not the first thing that we're going to cook. The first thing that we're going to cook is these lentil tortillas that I've already sort of prepared. Now, they're a 3-ingredient thing, and all you have to do to make them up is I added in 1 cup of red split lentils, which you usually get them at Woolies and Coles, and they just work like that. So a cup of that, in with about 1.5 cups of water, and then you need to soak them for a minimum of 3 hours, although I personally end up just preferring to just do it overnight because then by then they're totally soaked in. Once you've done that, you need to add in, okay, so now we've got the bullet set up, we've added our salt and pepper into our soaked red split lentils and water, and then we're just going to blend that up into a nice batter, and it'll be sort of thick like a pancake batter. Okay, so now I have set a pan with some oil, set it to about a medium heat, and let's hope that I've done the mix just nicely. So now we'll have a go at making our first lentil tortilla. As you can see, it looks just rather like a pancake with a nice orange tinge to it, so I'll just cook it until it starts to bubble up. And then I've also just got a plate here at the ready that I can put them on when they're finished. And also I forgot to mention I've now turned off the oven that was cooking up our hash browns and mushrooms and tomatoes, and they're just staying warm in the oven. And with the warmth of the oven, as I cook up these tortillas, I'll put them to sit in the oven too, because we've still got to do the scramble yet. So we'll come back once our first one is flipped and ready to go. So I've just flipped that over, and as you know, the first one never is perfect. And it really does turn out much more like a pancake. The recipe that I sort of found it on, I think theirs was much more flatter than mine is, but I have made this one time since, and either way the flavour's good. If you're a fan of red lentils, you'll love them. And it's literally a 3-ingredient recipe, like win-win. You know what? I'm totally going to change the name of this to lentil pancakes instead of lentil tortillas. And who'd have thought you could get the same texture without any flour? Like literally just blended up soaked red lentils, salt and pepper. It's a perfect way to make a nice savoury pancake if you ask me, and much healthier too, less processed. Okay, quick confession, halfway through I remembered that last time I made these I added in some garlic, salt and onion powder, and I did that again. Like I just added it in halfway because it just gives that little extra But you can try it with or without. Alright, and that's my finished batch. I already ate one to test it out, but yeah, you can probably make more than me if you thin out the mix when you put it in the pan, but I probably got about 5 or 6 out of that. So now I'm just going to put that in the oven to stay warm. I've just got the oven set at about 80 degrees now, along with the hash browns, just to sort of keep them warm whilst we work on the tofu scramble. So now tofu scramble, it is like the simplest stuff to cook. This video might seem long because we've cooked everything else, but if all you were doing was your tofu scramble, like it takes about, I reckon, 5 minutes to cook. So first off, we'll add in our chopped shallot that we put in earlier. Grab any flyaways, get back in there in the little one. Mix. And I like to add in, let me find the front, 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. You can use real garlic if you like. I'm being lazy. And I usually just saute that for like 1 to 2 minutes till it starts to brown, and then I add in the tofu. Now minced up tofu, mashed up. Remember, that was about half of the container. I'll put the measurements in the recipe later. Do that for about a minute, and then it'll be time to add in our scramble paste. No glue it. And sometimes if you've got a whole lot of sticky residue, I'll add a smidge bit more water in to just sluice the last of that, and then just cook the scramble till the water evaporates. Alright, I'm going to let that simmer for a couple of minutes. If you haven't added much liquid, then you can probably just go a minute. Like, this is the simplest thing to make, seriously, but for me, I'm just going to let it cook another minute or 2, and then we'll come back to it. Alright, as you can see, that's nice and evaporated, and it's turned a yellowy colour, which I think that's a mixture of the turmeric and the cumin and a bit of everything, but to me that looks pretty scrambled eggified. Now the last ingredient, which I leave this right to the end, and I'll actually turn the heat off, is to add some black salt in, which funnily enough is actually pink, and you can see in there. And the reason we add black salt is that it gives it that sulfur sort of a taste, that, you know, that really eggy flavour to it. So if you really want to try and make it authentic flavour similar to eggs, then yeah, sauce some black salt. And yeah, add that in at the end, otherwise if you add that in at the start, the flavour kind of disappears as it's cooked in, whilst if you add in at the end, it sort of keeps it fresh. I think I added about a teaspoon. I may have added a bit too much there, but we'll soon see. You just go to your personal taste, just add a little bit at a time, and you'll get to find what you like the most. Or, of course, you can keep it out. There's a lot of spices in there that gives the scramble quite a flavourful taste anyway without it. Look at that yellow. Okay, I think we're ready to dish up. So let's move you.
Check it.